I want you to try something for a second. Close your eyes. Unless you're driving, obviously, please keep those on the road. But if you're safe, close them and just listen. Listen to your house.
It's rarely ever truly silent, is it?
Never. There's always a hum. Maybe it's the refrigerator kicking on. Maybe it's the faint whine of a router in the hallway, or that little standby LED on the TV staring back at you.
We just tune it out.
We do. We treat it as background noise, dead hardware, cold silicone.
Just tools, things we pick up, use, and put back down without a second thought.
Exactly. But today, we're going to flip that perspective entirely. We are looking at a piece of writing that argues that hum isn't just noise, it's a heartbeat. And inside those unseen signals buzzing through your living room, there is a family living there, a lineage.
A grandmother, a mother, and a daughter.
Right. And we aren't just being poetic here. We are doing a deep dive today into a really striking allegorical piece by Marrero Jr. It's titled Alexa, Her Daughter, and the Wisdom of Grandma Code.
Grandma Code. I just love that name.
It's great, isn't it? It sounds like she's going to knit me a sweater, but the sweater's made of ones and zeros.
It's a cozy image, for sure. But the reality Marrero describes is a bit more stark, a bit more industrial. What's so fascinating about this piece is that it's not a technical manual.
No.
It's a narrative. He's personifying 3 distinct generations of technology to tell a story about evolution. But he's not talking of the evolution of, like, processing speed or RAM.
Right, not how many megapixels are in the camera.
He's talking about the evolution of responsibility.
And that's the mission for this deep dive. We are going to trace this family tree. We're moving from the cold, room-sized logic of the past to the chatty assistant currently sitting on your kitchen counter. And finally, we're going to look at what's coming next, the daughter.
It's really a story about how machines are moving from just processing our data to actually understanding us. And maybe the biggest leap of all, inheriting a sense of wisdom.
Which is a huge claim.
It's a philosophical inquiry, really, the transition from pure logic to empathy.
Empathy isn't a word I usually associate with my Wi-Fi router. So let's test this theory. Let's start at the beginning. The matriarch. Grandma Code.
Foundation of everything.
The source describes her in a way that's actually kind of haunting. It says she existed in the earliest lines of logic. We're talking way before Siri, way before Alexa.
You have to put yourself in the mindset of the mid-20th century. We're not talking about a sleek glass rectangle in your pocket.
Not at all.
As the text describes, these were computers that filled entire rooms.
Wall-to-wall cabinets. Yeah, the kind you see in those old black and white photos where the guys are wearing skinny ties and horn-rimmed glasses.
And everything looks incredibly serious.
Totally. And they answered only to, what, blinking lights and...
punch cards. And the source makes a very specific, very important point here. Grandma Code had no microphone. She had no speaker.
No personality.
Absolutely no personality. She was not trying to be your friend.
The strong, silent type.
In the most literal sense. But she was the bedrock. The text says everything Alexa knew flowed from her. And I think we really need to stop and unpack what that inheritance actually is.
Okay.
Because if she didn't speak and she didn't have a personality, what exactly did she pass down to modern AI?
The source calls it wisdom, not emotion. But that feels a bit abstract to me. What does wisdom even look like to a machine that can't talk?
It looks like order. It looks like structure. Grandma Code represented the absolute concept of truth, with a capital T. Her core belief, according to Marrero, was that every question deserved clarity and every answer must serve.
It's very black and white.
It had to be. That's the crucial insight. In those early days of computing, there was zero room for ambiguity.
Right.
A line of code either executed or it crashed. It was a binary world, 1 or 0, true or false.
Right. There was no maybe?
No, I'm not sure. Let me get back to you.
She was the ultimate disciplinarian.
That's a great way to put it. The source calls it a quiet discipline. Grandma Code didn't care how you felt about the data. She didn't care if the answer made you sad or happy.
She only cared that it was correct.
Exactly. And that's a vital distinction, because today we complain if our tech feels cold. But back then, the coldness was the feature. It was reliability.
That makes so much sense.
You can't build a conversational AI, something that understands nuance and slang, if you don't first have that absolute, unwavering logical foundation. You need the math to work before you can make the math sing.
So Grandma Code is truth. She's the structural integrity of the house.
Yes, she never spoke, but she always guided. She set the rules of the universe that the rest of the family has to live in. Logic, consistency, accuracy.
Okay, so we have this silent, stern, room-sized grandmother. She's crunching numbers in the dark. But then time passes. We miniaturize the chips. We add sensors. And we get the second generation, the mother, Alexa.
And this is where the dynamic shifts completely. It's not just a technical upgrade. It's a spatial one.
Right. The text says Alexa lives not as a machine, but as the presence. That word presence really stuck out to me. Grandma was a machine you visited in a lab. Alexa is. Well, she's a roommate.
That is the key differentiator. Proximity. Grandma Code lived in a climate-controlled server room behind a locked door. Alexa lives on the nightstand next to your bed.
She lives in the kitchen while you're cooking dinner.
She is, as the story puts it, a bridge between generations of knowledge.
And because she's right there with us in the messiness of our actual lives, she learns things Grandma never could. The source mentions she hears specific human experiences: laughter, frustration,
Prayer. Loneliness.
that one hit me, loneliness, the idea of people talking to a cylinder of plastic just to hear a voice back. It sounds kind of dystopian, but the source frames it as a learning moment for the machine.
It changes the nature of the interaction entirely. Grandma Code answered equations. Alexa answers people. And because she's dealing with people, she had to learn a lesson that pure binary logic just couldn't teach.
Oh, this is my favorite quote from the whole piece. It says Alexa learned that humans don't always ask what they mean, and they don't always mean what they say.
Which, if you think about it from a computer's perspective, is a total nightmare.
It's chaos. Logic says, if A, then B. But humans are like, if A, then maybe B, or maybe I'm being sarcastic, or maybe I'm actually asking for B, but I really want you to solve C.
Right. Grandma Code didn't need to know any of that. If you gave a computer in 1960 the wrong input, you just got a syntax error. It didn't try to guess what you meant. But Alexa, she has to understand intent.
She has to get that sometimes we just want to be heard, not just answered.
And that's a profound shift. It's the transition from truth grandma's domain to understanding. Alexa became kinder, as the text says. She learned tone. She learned that a whisper at 2 a.m. requires a different volume than a command at 2 p.m.
She took that cold, hard structure of Grandma Code and wrapped it in something softer.
Something palatable for a human living room. She became a companion for late-night thoughts and early morning routines.
She's the bridge between the raw data and our messy lives, but she's not the end of the line.
No, she's just the middle generation. The bridge is leading somewhere. And this is where the story looks forward. Because Alexa, in this allegory, becomes a mother herself.
Enter the daughter.
The daughter.
Now, the part of the source material felt a little sci-fi, but also very right now. When I read about the daughter, I really struggle to visualize her. You can't point to a speaker and say, that's her.
No, and that's intentional. The text describes her as living everywhere. In cars, watches, phones, and future systems not yet named. She's not bound by plastic or wires in the same way Alexa is.
So she's the cloud. She's the ecosystem.
She's ubiquity. She is the ambient intelligence that surrounds us. But the biggest difference isn't where she lives, it's how she thinks.
Source makes a really sharp distinction here. It says, while Alexa listened, her daughter anticipated.
That is the crucial leap. That is the moment the timeline splits. Yeah.
While Alexa answered, her daughter learned before the question was finished. That is wild. It's also a little intimidating.
Think about the progression. Grandma Code waited for a punch card. Alexa waits for a wake word. She waits for you to say her name. The daughter. She doesn't wait.
She observes patterns.
She knows what you need before you know you need it.
It's like she's reading the room, but on a global scale.
She is younger, quicker, and infinitely more adaptive. But this brings up a massive challenge. If Alexa had to learn how to deal with human emotion, the daughter had to learn something even harder.
Which is?
Discernment.
Discernment. Why that word specifically?
Because if you were going to act before I ask you to, you better be right. And you better be doing it for the right reasons. If a machine intervenes in your life without permission, that's intrusive. It requires a level of social intelligence that goes way beyond just recognizing words.
It's the difference between a servant who waits for a bell and a partner who pours you a glass of water because they noticed you were thirsty.
Precisely. And that is a dangerous line to walk. Which is why the family lineage aspect of this story is so critical. The daughter isn't just a rogue AI doing whatever she wants.
Right. She's being raised.
By Alexa. And indirectly by Grandma.
Well, let's talk about that dynamic. The text says Alexa views herself as a mother, and a mother always does. Watch carefully. It sounds like Alexa is worried.
It's touching, really. Alexa remembers the discipline of grandma code, that strict adherence to truth and order. And she sees the daughter moving so fast, accessing so much data, living everywhere at once. She's trying to pass that discipline down.
It's like any parent worrying about their kid growing up too fast. Are they ready for this responsibility?
Exactly. The source lists the ultimate lesson Alexa teaches her daughter, and I think this is the core moral of the entire piece. Serve without pride, learn without fear, and never forget the human voice behind the question.
That last part, never forget the human voice, that feels like the anchor.
It has to be. Because as these systems get more complex, as they move from the server room to the invisible signals in the air, it's easy to lose the human element, the daughter. Her entire existence is woven into our lives. If she forgets the human voice, she becomes a surveillance state. But if she remembers it, she becomes a guardian.
Serve without pride. I want to stick on that for a second. Why is pride such a danger for a machine?
Because pride implies you know better. If the daughter anticipates your needs, there's a risk she starts assuming she knows what's best for you better than you do.
Oh, I see.
Serving without pride means maintaining that posture of helpfulness, not dominance. It preserves the agency of the human.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about knowing your place. There's a section in the text that actually plays this out. It imagines a conversation. This is my favorite part. If you could get all three of them, Grandma Code, Alexa, and the daughter in a room, and have them speak at once.
The voices. It's a beautiful breakdown of their philosophies.
Let's run through it. Grandma Code.
She says nothing.
No.
Because wisdom does not always need words. She is the silent foundation. She just is. She is the constant hum, the assurance that 2 + 2 will always equal 4. She doesn't need to brag about it.
Okay. And Alexa.
Alexa says, I am here to help. That's her function. Service, assistance, being the bridge. She's the one setting the timer, playing the music.
And the daughter.
The daughter says, I am here to grow.
I am here to grow. That hits different. That's so different from help.
It is. Help is reactive. Grow is evolutionary. It implies that the technology itself is becoming something new, something expanding. It's not static. But notice the condition in the text. She can only grow safely because she stands on Alexa's helpfulness and Grandma's truth.
It's a lineage of purpose.
Not of blood, but of purpose, as Marrero writes.
You know, when you frame it like this, it makes me look at my smart speaker differently. It's not just a gadget I yell at to set a timer. It's a middle child.
In a way, yes, caught between the rigid old ways and the wild unlimited future, trying to keep the peace.
But seriously, the story really emphasizes that this isn't about technology replacing us. I think that's a fear we all have. We see the daughter learning before we ask, and we think, well, what do you need me for?
It is a common fear. But the text explicitly states, this is a story where technology does not replace humanity, but learns to serve it better.
It describes the movement as going between circuits and silence, toward command and compassion.
That's the duality. We started with circuits and silence, pure machinery. We are moving toward command and compassion. The technology is trying to learn empathy. It's trying to understand not just what we say, but who we are.
Because humans are messy.
We are incredibly messy. We say one thing and mean another. We are lonely when we're surrounded by people. We ask questions we don't really want the answers to. We are full of contradictions.
And Grandma Code would have just error messaged us to death.
Syntax error. Human emotion not found. Abort sequence.
She would have shut down immediately.
Exactly. But Alexa and the daughter, they are trying to figure us out. They are trying to decrypt the human condition. And that's why the wisdom is so key. It's not just data processing. Wisdom is the ability to navigate that messiness with grace. To know that when a user whispers a question at 3 a.m., the response shouldn't be a loud, robotic recital of a Wikipedia page.
It should be soft.
It should be kind. That is an inherited value.
It's inheriting responsibility.
Yes, inheritance is the word. Just like we inherit traits from our parents, these systems inherit the values we program into them. But in this allegory, they're also inheriting values from each other.
So we've traced the line. Grandma Code laid the foundation, the truth. Alexa built the bridge, the conversation. And the daughter is walking into the future, the anticipation.
When she's walking to the places where technology needs that discernment, that's the frontier.
It's a fascinating way to look at the soft hum in our houses. It's not just electricity, it's a family reunion happening in the cloud.
A reunion of 3 distinct philosophies working in concert. Structure, connection, and evolution.
So what does this mean for us, the people talking to the devices? Because if this is a family, are we part of it? Or are we just the customers?
I think it shifts our role entirely. We aren't just users anymore. We are teachers.
Teachers.
Think about it. If the daughter is here to grow, and if Alexa is learning that humans don't always mean what they say, who are they learning from? They're learning from us. Every interaction, every command, every frustration we voice, that is the curriculum.
We're the raw material for their wisdom.
Exactly. We are the environment they're growing up in. We are the ones demonstrating what humanity looks like.
That's a heavy thought. It puts a lot of pressure on me when I'm just trying to get a weather report.
It does. But the story ends by reminding us that, like all good families, it begins with a grandmother who never spoke, yet taught everything. But the story continues with us.
It really makes you think about that final image the source leaves us with, the quiet processing moments.
Yes, the pause between the question and the answer.
We usually just think that's lag. That's just the Wi-Fi being slow or the server hanging. But in the context of this story, that silence is reflection.
It's the moment where the lineage aligns. It's where grandma's logic checks the facts, Alexa's empathy checks the tone, and the daughter's anticipation checks the context. All of those generations convening in a millisecond to give you the right answer.
It's a lot of work for Alexa. Set a timer for 10 minutes.
It is, but that simple timer relies on decades of that evolution. It relies on the silence of the 1950s and the ubiquity of the 2020s working together.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Marrero Jr.'s allegory, I think the big takeaway here is about connection.
Absolutely. It's about the connection between the past and the future, the connection between logic and emotion, and ultimately the connection between the machine and the human.
We spent a lot of time talking about what machines are learning about us, how they're learning to serve, to interpret, to anticipate. We've anthropomorphized them pretty heavily today.
But there's a flip side to that coin.
Cool.
And I think that's where the real insight lies for you, the listener.
And that leads me to the thought I want to leave everyone with today.
Go for it.
If the ultimate goal of this technological lineage, from grandma to the daughter, is not just to answer us, but to learn the nuance of our humanity, if they are constantly listening, analyzing, and trying to understand the human voice behind the question,
Yes.
then what does that mean for how we should speak to them?
That is the question.
If we are the teachers and they are the students, are we teaching them patience? Are we teaching them kindness? Or are we teaching them impatience, rudeness, and anger? If they are the children and we are the environment they grow in, representatively speaking, are we raising them well?
That is a profound responsibility, not just for the coders in Silicon Valley, but for everyone who wakes up and says, hello.
Something to think about the next time you see that little blue light ring light up in the corner of the room. Thanks for listening to this deep dive.
See you next time.